Joe Braun today?
Mojo Braun.
I thought I saw a truck that goes.
There's one that looks like it.
Alright, meeting is called to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sarah, roll call.
Councilmember Campbell,
Here.
Councilmember Rain,
Here.
Councilmember Mays,
Here.
Councilmember Bakke, Councilmember Pringle, here, Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Alright, as you guys probably see, Councilmember Bakke is not here tonight. If you recall, he did let us know last meeting that he would be on vacation for this. So if someone so chooses, we could entertain a motion to excuse him.
I'll make a motion to excuse him.
Councilmember Mays has made the motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Jones. Sarah, roll call.
Councilmember Rain,
Yes.
Councilmember Mays,
Yes.
Councilmember Pringle,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember Campbell.
Yes.
Alright, motion passes and Councilmember Bakke is excused. Alright, we will continue with our public comment, and just a reminder, we have 5 minutes for each person if you would like to speak. It's always good to introduce yourself and state your name for the people that are viewing at home. And I will start with you, Delbert. Would you
I
like
got
to?
4 minutes left from last time too.
You got 4 minutes left. Unfortunately,
I do have a
it doesn't
question.
work that way.
I do have a question. What's a vacation?
Vacation, I know, right?
I don't remember having one. I'd like to comment on not only these meetings, but that meeting the other night I thought went pretty good with that zoning.
Uh-huh.
I thought it went pretty good, but there's a big difference in the meetings now than there was a couple of years ago. I think they're quicker, they're more productive, and don't you think? I mean, anybody's been here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my comment.
Thank you.
So anyway, that's it.
Well, thank you for joining us, Delbert. Mike, would you like to address council?
I would. Some good news and bad news. A lot of the rocks got picked up. There's still rocks in the field. I'm kind of concerned with the we're immune approach to safety. So, when it comes to kids' safety, good enough isn't good enough when it's your kid that gets hurt. So, I have pictures of a kid climbing straight up that slide, and compared to the overall cost of the project, the little metal dividers to go on the slide are not that expensive. As far as the handholds, if the state of Ohio all of a sudden knows, like California, that they know something the other 49 states don't, and those handholds aren't good unless they're installed upside down and only upside down, then there's a problem, because both the inspectors and the manufacturers can't both be right. And in my experience, American single rope technique, caving, and cave rescue, anytime you mix techniques and equipment, there's a danger of potential fatalities. So when it comes right down to it, you can source kid-safe handholds from a manufacturer that are safe for a kid climbing wall. But what we've got is generic adult handholds that are upside down. We can do better. I think we should do better. I don't know how to put it other than that. The next question I have is, the logging is a very, very big project, and I'm disappointed that there wasn't public comment, and I'm concerned that there wasn't a written estimate of the value of the timber removed versus the value of the labor and cost in the removal and the landscaping. Because if you haven't gotten an independent assessment, you don't know what you have. And so if we don't know what the timber was worth, we don't know what the value of the services we're trading is. So we have no idea, is the town getting ripped off? Is the town not getting ripped off? Or if that contract is large enough that it should have gone out for estimate and bid. In the same manner, with another kid playground going in, those things cost a lot of money. The cheap ones are $100,000 or more. So again, the installer that installed our current playground should definitely be up for review if they're going to be the contractor again, because they had to have their concrete torn out. And there's a very real possibility there's more of this stuff in the mulch. And when you look at the mulch in the playground, you can see that it's unevenly distributed. So it may be over thick in some areas, it may be under thick in others. But that mulch is what the key to protecting a kid from a fall is when it's 84 inches. It's like ocean fall protection begins at 48. Kids' playgrounds begin at 84 because of that mulch layer. If there's a problem with it, then they're not protected. My personal experience in falls started in 1986 when I was 17 years old. Came out of my Red Fox class, first aid class, and a week later, a girl getting a piggyback ride fell over and was unconscious. The crowd wanted to shake her. I said, no, don't do that. She had blood coming out her ears. She'd suffered a skull fracture in a fall less than 3 feet.
You have about 30 seconds, Mike.
So, 84 inches. If the mulch isn't right, these are kids. They deserve to have somebody advocate for them, for their safety, because they don't know these details, they can't ask for themselves. It's gotta be right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I pick
Can
you
I,
off of that for a second?
Sure.
I was just curious, actually, I wanted to ask Councilmember Campbell, we talked about this, I know he was talking, him and Travis were in regards to that. Did you guys ever come up with, how did that work out, if you don't mind?
What's that?
As far as the timbering out there? I understood that it was kind of like a, trade-off more or less, is that what they did, or how did you guys assess that,
So
if
we
you don't mind?
had a few people come in and give estimates when we had some widow makers, what they call them, some broken limbs that fell out over the wall pass and some very dangerous trees. And the quotes were very expensive to have a company come in and just single one tree out, right? So you try not to damage the trees around and try not to damage the wall pass. We reached out to 4 different companies, and just like trying to get somebody to come do something for you, we had one show interest. So since then, the plans have kind of changed on the idea of what we're trying to do back in the back of the park. We're trying to basically expand the parking eventually, change the drainage. That section between the back parking lot and the field, it's about 18 inches lower than we thought it was. So it ended up being a total swamp in there. So the idea was we've been cutting some drains around. And then since then, we've had 8 trees fall, 2 by the back shelter and 4 into the fence at the dog park already. So everything has kind of been changed around. We're trying to work around sports and everything else. And then we're doing basically weekend work. So, and then with all the rain, we can't catch up. So it was kind of a trade on the beginning of it, as far as cut the problem trees down. Luckily, we found a guy who takes firewood also. So I had a company come in and price just to log it and to firewood it. The prices are just astronomical. It was just insane. So we found a local guy that would come in and we've had him do several trees in the area, and he's always worked with us real well. He's always done what he said, so it's kind of where we're at with it.
So you guys didn't assess no value of the trees then, or?
Well, so they went through, we had one company come out and they actually did some core samples, if you will, and we had like 5 of the big trees was absolutely rotten. So that changed everybody's mindset of it's just a gamble at that point.
Right.
So, yeah, so we had to kind of change our eyes to basically a firewood backup instead of a logging outfit.
Right.
And then, like I said, we had one logger that was actually on the property, and he just quit on us. So, you know, it's kind of like if you find somebody that's doing the work.
Right. I'm sorry to put you on the spot there. I just wanted to put a little bit more information out there for what he'd been kind of beating around about as far as, you know, how that turned out. I didn't know, so.
Right.
Thank you, Mike.
Hey, I got a
All right,
question.
yes, Delbert.
Who do you end up getting along?
Just out there now,
Yeah,
Rob Sterrett.
Rob Sterrett, okay. He's decent, but the trucks that I've seen going by is like Sycamore and stuff, there's no high dollar trees in it.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. 2 weeks ago, the tree market has actually went like a third cut. So it's
Unless it's walnut or white oak.
right.
So,
Even white oak and red oak was down. I know another guy who logs his $8,000 load the week before turned to $5,800 the next week.
and that depends on your buyer, because I got a logger over in Sardinia right now, and he said it's still hot. But anyway, there's no paper mill or meat, you know, up there at Chillicothe anymore.
Right.
So the only thing it's good for, if it's not a marketable tree, the only thing it's good for is firewood.
Yeah.
So,
And then we're working with, the recycling is doing us an awesome favor. We're able to come with the dumpsters out there, and then we're getting the town guys to come in and do as much work as they can on trimming the brush and loading it. So it's been a huge group effort, and with the rain, we just can't. As soon as we get something going, you know how it is.
Right.
So,
yeah, I do know how it is,
yeah.
trying to get anything done.
Mhm.
Yep. All right, thank you. Okay, so continuing along on your agenda, we are under general business, and you'll see on page 2 of your packet, you have the regular council meeting minutes from June 26th. Take a look at those. Take a look at those if you haven't done so already. And when ready, we will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Councilmember Campbell has made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Rain. Tara, roll call.
Councilmember Mays,
Yes.
Councilmember Pringle,
Yes.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Councilmember Ring.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. On page 5 of your packet as well, you will see the work session meeting minutes from July 10. Take a look at those again, and when ready, we can entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Councilmember Mays has made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second provided by Councilmember Pringle. Tara, roll call.
Councilmember Jones,
Yes.
Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Councilmember Ring,
Yes.
Councilmember Mays,
Yes.
Councilmember Pringle. Yes.
All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, next up is the property maintenance code. I will tell you that we will be tabling this as well. Joe and Travis, and I know some of you have provided input, not everybody has provided input, but Joe and Travis are still reworking this as well to get it up to the standards that you guys would like to see. So I do believe this will be part of the next month's work session that we can really kind of talk through it. Yes.
Are they gonna go through and basically give us a new
packet, so they
You'll have
went
it.
through?
Yeah, you'll see
Okay,
that,
okay.
yes, yes,
Because
so
it
just.
really should have been trimmed down quite a lot.
I think it's been trimmed down, there's a lot you guys brought up about, inside the house, things of that nature that are getting trimmed, they're getting reworded, some of it is, most of it's getting trimmed, so. Yeah, you'll get a new packet provided to you. Any questions on that? Good. Alright, so we'll skip over that one. And then we advertised a public hearing for the industrial park zoning change. So if you guys recall, this went through the ZBA probably about 6 weeks ago regarding the property that is sitting on Hamer and Malward Pike, that the property owners, which is the CIC, or I'm sorry, the Port Authority, that they're requesting a change in zoning code, and that would be from R1 to industrial. So it's gone through the proper steps. It was advertised as a public hearing tonight. So before we discuss it, we do need to open, have a motion to open the public hearing to discuss this.
I'll make a motion to open
Councilmember Jones has made a motion to open a public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Green. All right, so we are inside the public hearing now, and anybody here wish to speak about the zoning change?
It's pretty much gonna happen, so.
Okay. All right, any questions, any thoughts up here?
So basically, we're just to be clear, we're changing the zoning from farmland to industrial, correct?
Yes, so that the Port Authority would be able
Seems
to,
legitimate.
yes, properly market that property and or construct something, whatever they so choose to do, that would fit into that parameter. Everybody's familiar with where the property is, correct? Even the new folk, Jessica and Jeremy, you guys are good? All right, if there are no comments, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
it. I'll make a motion to close it.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilmember Mays. Tara, roll call.
Councilmember Pringle? Yes. Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Campbell?
Yes.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember Mays?
Yes.
Motion passes. We are now out of the public hearing. And then the ask of this group would be to decide if you want to move forward with the zoning change, and if so, you have legislation in front of you that we can take a look at. So Kelly, I'll go ahead and have you read that first.
Okay. An ordinance approving a zoning map amendment for the property located at 9158 Malwood Pike, 1218 Malwood Pike, in Brown County parcels number 33-062236.0000 and 33-069268.000 from Highway Business District HB to Industrial District 1, or I, and declaring emergency.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Councilmember Mays has made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Jones. Tara, roll call.
Councilmember Campbell?
Yes.
Councilmember Ring?
Yes.
Councilmember Mays?
Yes.
Councilmember Pringle? Yes. Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Can I ask a question on this real quick?
1 second. Motion passes.
Ordinance 1398, 1398.
1398, ordinance number. And yes, Mike, your question.
So I was just curious, and I don't know if this has been brought up or not, and I think everything is wonderful that we're talking about as far as the industrial site, future business, that sounds fabulous. Even going toward the project that's going on out here across from Pizza Hut, I think it's a wonderful idea for us to have more housing. Even though I sit here and worry about my poor few little rentals that might get hit just decent. I do see a benefit to it, but my question is for the last 3 years, I've heard a lot about our sewer and it having problems being able to handle all the water at times. And I know that in the past we spent a lot of money in you know, putting smoke into the sewer systems and finding out if there was drainage going from, storm drains as opposed to going from the sewers, or for the sewer.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious to how that's gonna work with all of that coming into it and all of that. Is that gonna, has anybody looked at that? And if so, where are we at with that and who is on top of that? And I'm not trying to be, you know, derogatory at all toward the ideals, because I think they're fabulous. But I know that we had problems with it not being able to handle at times. So has anybody looked at that? Is there increases? Are we looking at getting financing in the future for the purpose of that? Will this money that generates offset that cost for the community as a whole? Sorry, I know that was a
Yeah.
lot.
So that question was asked, in the last zoning meeting that we had, like last week or the week before, I can't remember when it was. And Travis is definitely on top of that. Travis plain faced answered the question that we are prepared for this, where our system can take this on.
And I wish I'd been at the zoning meeting, because I'd have caught that, but I wasn't there. Okay.
Yeah, so I would say direct your question to Travis if you want some more detail on it, but I do know that that question was asked.
Okay.
I got something else I can tell you. When we first was talking about it, with there being a lot of natural drain on that property, we can actually send it down the natural path and through, you know, across the road and all that. So the storm drains is what we've had trouble with in the past. So
Yeah.
we're kind of eliminating that process. So that's kind of where they were at with it before.
With that testing, because I know it was quite expensive, with that testing, did they, you know, I never heard nothing more about this. I know we approved these things, but, you know, sometimes I don't know if it falls short of coming back to us, how that turned out. But I know in the past, we had those tests, those smoke tests. And that was to cut a lot of them people out that have storm drains going into that. Did that take place? Did we get anywhere? Was there much achieved? Much success in that, I guess, for...
So when we did the American Structure Point $600,000 whole infrastructure project, 3 years ago, everyone that was on council then was provided the summary. It took a year almost to get, and it was a big packet. So inside of there were the answers to your questions as far as like what the assessment was, what they found, but then part of what that money was paid for is for them to help us create plans on these items and also capture funding in some cases to help fix and solidify. So I think the long and short answer of it is yes, it was addressed. Yes, it was put into an actionable item. Where that is or how far down the road that is, that question I cannot answer, but that plan would tell us. And if you don't have a copy of that, and to the new members, I would ask Travis to get you a copy, or maybe Kara can make a note to make sure they get a copy of the American Structure Points assessment.
So Travis would be the one to talk to, though, as far as in regards to where are we at with that?
Yeah, I would.
Did we get any off of that?
I would venture to say that's a higher priority in the packet. I don't recall where it is, but you know, some things take priority, some kind of get pushed down the line. I know the electrical woes that were found were kind of made to a higher priority because a lot of the stuff that we found from that we're already purchasing or working through now. So I would say either ask Travis, if you don't have a copy of it, grab another copy of it, and or ask Travis where we are in that, where it falls in the, you know, is it 1 year down the road, is it 7 years down the road, I don't know.
Yeah, it was basically a 10-year assessment, and then you as the village, or we as the village, had the opportunity to, it was just their idea of what they would prefer to do next if it was them, but we could still tweak it around, like we were trying to go from, you know, if Jared Cooper's here, he can tell you, but it's like we have a 4K or something now, we're trying to upgrade to a 12, and I know one of the lift stations was in on that, I think a 5-year plan, so that was the whole thing. It was just a projection for like a 10-year plan, and it was, like the mayor said, it was extensive.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, I remember the money was like a large figure to even...
It was like 650,000.
Right.
Yeah,
So they started with the water towers that was leaking and then worked their way to kind of where we could handle it from here situation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of natural fall from that property.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was the first initial
Yeah.
talk of when we were doing the land layout was you could, with just the culverts in the correct places, we weren't fortunate to the storm drains.
Well, I think a lot of that storm drain should be just not put into it anyways, to where, you know, a lot of people over the years have tied their drains into it here, but with that all being new, you wouldn't have that problem, I wouldn't think anyways.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. And then the last item on the agenda, we're going to skip over, a vacant position. It's actually not the CIC, it's on the planning commission. So I need to work on that. If anybody has a good candidate for the planning commission, let me know, but probably by next meeting, we'll be appointing somebody to that. All right, and we will move along to roundtable, and I will start to my left with Jared Jones.
I got a couple things. I didn't see Ron here tonight, but he's been here for the past several meetings. And I was just curious if we got him squared away with his garbage and complaining with all that, so.
Yes.
I assumed with him not seeing him that we did, but I want to follow up with that. Can we ask Travis to investigate, as Mike continues to come back, it seems every meeting with rocks or glass, or kind of find out where that is coming from, and if it's in an area that is, you know, where children would be, and if it's in an area where children shouldn't be, that we can do something to block it off or whatever. That might be worthwhile, because we know that we have some hooligans out here that will tear up the fairgrounds or tear up some of the stuff out there at the park. And if we can prevent them being in an area that they shouldn't, maybe that will prevent finding things that we probably shouldn't have out there. I got a couple questions this week about filling up pools, so I kind of did my own research and talked to ladies in the utility department. I just kind of wanted to put out anybody that fills up a pool, you know, call the utility office, explain how many gallons that your pool was, and they actually credit your account the sewer usage for that, and they do that twice a year for you as a benefit. So anybody that isn't aware of that, they do that if you fill up a pool. The other thing I have is there's a concert on the square this Saturday, July 26th at 7 p.m. If it rains, it'll be in the Danny Gray building at the fairgrounds. And National Night Out is Tuesday, August 5th from 5 to 8 at the Eagles. That's all I got.
What time is the National Night Out? 5 to 8?
5 to 8.
Okay, thank you. All right, Jessica.
Just a reminder, there's a farmer's market next Thursday at 4:30 on Grant Street instead of the courthouse, 4:30 to 7:30. And I am scheduled to spend a little time with Mike Click next Thursday, if any council members would like to join us and see what he's all about.
Sounds fun.
He'll help with the property maintenance code as well. I'll get his thoughts on that.
Is there a way we can make sure that, you said Wednesday?
Thursday.
Thursday of next week? Is there any way we could get that to us next week, that rendition of what Joe and Travis have, and maybe that could,
We'll see.
sorry.
All right, anything else?
No.
Ken?
No.
Tony?
A grandfather of some kids that play soccer out there told me that there were some holes in the soccer field, and that they put cones in them upside down so the kids wouldn't step in them. Well, he drew me a map, and I went out there and walked around 2 or 3 of the soccer fields. I couldn't find any. I saw no cones, and I didn't see any holes, so I would assume they've been filled up. Sewer lid on Dale Acres Drive is still not staying in place. And I noticed that the tree limbs that Kelly had mentioned a couple meetings ago on Marshall Avenue are still hitting the truck mirrors. I got a big truck and I went through there and smacked my mirrors as well. So
Where did you say that was at?
Marshall.
Marshall. It's right as soon as you turn on Marshall, that big pine
Or
tree.
east? East side?
From, yeah.
Okay, you capture that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We will make sure Travis knows. Thank you. Mike?
Well, one more quick question for you, Kelly. You might know this, you might not. I brought up several times about increasing the amount of money we match on sidewalks multiple times. Have we ever got anywhere on that? And I know that's not you, but I know that you work a lot more with Travis, so you might know where that's at or if we've even done anything
I
yet.
actually have, I don't have it completed yet, but since we have, everybody here is new, it probably won't be this next work section, but it'll probably be the next one. I just want to go over with everybody and kind of tell everybody what we have currently, and then I have a couple ideas of something to try. So, to highlight it, it is a matching fund that we have.
So
For
it's
example,
50/50?
Yeah, if it's a 50/50.
Okay, I like that even better.
Yeah, so for example, if you're in front of Jessica's house, she wants to put a sidewalk in, and it will cost $2,500. Okay, we would match that up to, we had one ordinance that we read over, but then we were going to table it, so that one never got in play, and I think the last one was, a matching fund up to, what's the first start? We have $10,000 that we put aside
Right.
yearly, and then we match it up to,
1,000 right now,
I think it's
currently.
1,500.
Not right now.
I think it is, yeah.
I'm almost positive, not unless that's changed. I'm telling you, I've poured concrete on sidewalks of one of my places here in the last year, and it was $1,000
Okay.
match. So up to 1,000 rather, it wasn't a match, it was up to 1,000, and that's what it was. So
Yeah.
because the reason why I was asking, because I was thinking that it should be increased, because really, if you think about it, most of the projects in front of a home are generally tear out and put back around $3,000. So that's why I was coming at you about this, because I thought, well, maybe we could just increase it
Yeah.
to
That's all.
1,500, and, you know, it would, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I know concrete has went up tremendously, you know that, it's skyrocketed now. And then my question was also going to be, out of that $10,000 fund that we put back every year, how much has been used per year, and what did we do with that per year? Did it get used? Did it get exceeded that 10,000 somehow? And if it didn't get exceeded, then what was that money put into from year to year? Like, because if you earmark so much money and you only use half of it, wouldn't that roll over to the next year and we have $15,000?
Not unless they do it that way, most likely.
Because I think we should look to vote that way also, because then it builds up year to year, and then it don't escape. Maybe in 10 years, if it's built up to something good for the community as far as fixing something major, we would have it. But if we're earmarking 10 grand and we're not using it, we should be doing something to not just let it fall back and then come. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
So just to interject a little bit, because I actually talked to Greg today about sidewalks and all this, and it's ordinance number 1136. And he said that it's 10,000 a year set aside. It goes into, what do you say, fund number 2011, I don't know. And he went back as far as like 22, 21, like there has been not very many people using it.
Right. So
And if it's not used, it goes back to the general fund.
and that's what I'm asking about
So
too.
that's what he said, right? Now, in this ordinance, it says $1,000 of work gets 500 match from the village, right? 2,000 gets 1,000, and 3,000 gets 1,000, which means
Right, so it's 1,000.
it's a 50-50.
Right.
split at this point unless
Well,
you go above 3,000, you know,
Right.
above 2,000, then you're still
Right,
paying the majority of that cost.
So either, I think it would be great if we could do it $1,500 maybe, or look toward doing it for $1,500 max, or match 15, or rather max 15, or if somebody had a lot of sidewalks around, like if they had a corner property, you know what I mean? And maybe that might be something we say, well, you know, this is unusual because most properties only have a front sidewalk, you know, as opposed to a corner property that would have more. So maybe we can, if somebody came in, that would be a special case, is what I'm saying.
I will also say too, so it sounds like Kelly's putting some stuff together. I know he's done an assessment of the sidewalks around the village, which I think will be nice to see. But also, I know there's a coexisting project that's going on with ABCAP, and they're actually, they're doing walk audits in communities, and they're actually coming to our meeting, the 14th, I believe it is, and so our next meeting, and presenting what their project's about and what they anticipate to do with it. So I think all those things combined, we kind of gotta see where a couple of these things play out and see what they're willing to do, what they're looking to do, and what funding they have. So
Right.
I think this will be a hot topic over the next couple months.
I will
regardless,
give you a rough idea, because I kind of quit on the project when some other things were priorities. And I was doing this on my, on my spare time. If you were to take lineal feet, does everybody know what lineal feet is? It's heel to toe walking. We have 48,500 lineal feet of sidewalk in this village. So it would take 20 years to replace a stretch that goes from like CVS to the liquor store. It would take us 20 years of doing sidewalk every year just to do the sidewalks that's in this village. So once I found that out, then I was trying to see which ones were priority, because everybody that walks in the door complains about a sidewalk, tripping here, tripping there. So I had a couple different ideas, but then, like I said, I went clear back and found the first records we had of sidewalks, and it's pretty crude. So it went from just kind of basically telling you what we'd like for you to do, and then clear up to what Jeremy just showed you. And then, like I said, I found one ordinance where it was upping it to, I think, a $5,000 figure per use.
Right.
So, I did a lot of work on it, but then I kind of stalled a little bit because once Travis took over, his first year here, we didn't miss it on anybody's fault, but timing. There was a grant where we could have got some sidewalk stuff done, but we just didn't know about it. So as soon as he got kind of everything settled, that was going to be our next project, is try to come up with him putting some feelers out for next year, seeing if there's any grant funding where we could basically itemize from the most used out, is kind of my theory. So if you started in the courthouse area and just kind of assess the streets. But we do have a lot of streets, I will tell you, a lot coming from like Shell Station, just straight south, I guess you could call it. There's a lot of them that's, I think, may not even be needed anymore. So thought we would either have some council members walk and itemize it, or maybe have somebody like we did the structure point to come in and throw an idea of a rating on it.
Well,
And it's an advertisement, like you're saying, a lot of people, and that's what Jeremy's speaking out loud, a lot of people don't know that we offer that. So if you advertise it that, hey, we can potentially cut your costs in half, but it has to be kind of inspected, so we make sure you're using concrete or whatever.
right.
But there was wordage in one about a corner lot, curbs, approach. So the other big thing about it is if you replace a big sidewalk, ADA requirements is 5% slope. It has to be so wide. You have to have a passing lane for wheelchairs. So it's a very sketchy thing, because a lot of streets, we don't have that kind of real estate to turn a 28-inch sidewalk into a 6-foot sidewalk. So that's what I mean. Everything will kind of be on a street basis or an individual basis.
So
So there's a lot of work.
A lot of criteria.
I would love to know, and maybe I've been thinking about going up there and getting this. It'd be great if you could go back 10 years, for example, and see how much money was allocated per year, and how much money went back to the general fund that could have been earmarked in a trust toward, for example, sidewalk adventures in the future, for lack of a
That was
better word.
something that we were
But-
working on.
But, cause I mean, it would be, you know, right now, after 10 years, if you only spent a couple thousand a year, 3,000, that's a huge number in a 10-year period that's just kind of rolled back.
Well, so I'll hit on it like one last time. That was a huge thing where we talked about maybe setting aside if we couldn't find grant money, or if we throw an event on, the funding from that event would go towards sidewalks or something like
Right.
that. But it's just something that, like I said, until you start digging into it, you do not realize how many, and then like Tony said, for example, the main street that you walk from South Main to check into the side of the fairgrounds, where that side gate is, there's 4 big trees that we'd have to take out. And I think the last ballpark estimate I had was $28,000. And then they park on the sidewalk. So there's a lot of things that you can't just go in there and say, okay, we're gonna do this, because everything's a little bit different. So it's a lot to throw in there.
And I agree with you there, but I don't know that I just think that if you're gonna have any idea of the future moving forward and having something put back for it, if the council would consider moving to, you know, that money that's earmarked yearly, if it's not used, it's designated in the future to go into another account that is specifically for future projects on concrete sidewalks. So we start to build up some kind of safety net to do something in the future. If we don't do nothing in 5 years, at least we'll have that money that's in there to say, hey, now we can afford this. You know what I mean? And I do think we still need to move in the future to raise what the threshold is. Like Jeremy said, it's $1,000. That's not hardly nothing. I mean, really, toward a project like that.
Well, and I would remind you too, as you guys are working on this, certainly we'll have it on the agenda here very soon. But keep an open mind too. I really want to hear what PodCap's looking to do with
Right.
walkout.
And one other thing going into that, the reason why I brought this up is a couple seniors in our community that come into the restaurant all the time. As a matter of fact, we've had 3 generations of their family come in there all the time. They are just retired. A couple months ago, she had to go into the hospital for some kind of neurological issue, and the lady went from being very active to being in a wheelchair where she's got to hit these bars to move, to turn, and hit back to make, I mean, she can't move her hands, legs. Anyways, they called me before she got to come into the hospital and messaged me about the sidewalks, because they can't get her out of the chair unless they lift her and put her. So they would like to still come to the restaurant, but they have a hard time getting up them sidewalks. And I just looked at anybody that could happen to. And I think that, you know, if we can, you know, after seeing that, and I mean, I couldn't believe it the other day when they came in. It was just remarkable seeing this lady, and, you know, to have to go through that suffering and still being cheerful, and, you know, it just amazed me. And I think that we should try to take care of them kind of people in our community. So that's all I have
I'll
to
say
say.
one more thing on it to keep in mind. Take Main Street, for example. You have curbs, sewer, not natural drain, but you have all the sewer drains, and that part, because we've had people come in and say from the Worley Hotel, there's people that's in the motorized things, and there's nowhere for them to get on the sidewalk. And like I said, I know there's not, but there's also not enough real estate. We can't move sewer, we can't do this stuff. So some areas, and that was a workup that I had, we're almost gonna have to do, in my opinion, like a grid. Like, we'll do these sidewalks and then pick a couple main side streets and make those as nice as we can, and then the rest of it's just gonna be up to the homeowner to do what's in front of their house, in my opinion.
And take advantage of the grant stuff,
Sure.
right? And I do agree. I think that the main, I think you're spot on. Main roads, basically, I feel like they should all be tended to. Even if there's a home there, honestly, I feel like that the village should automatically stay on top of that. And I know I've got no properties on the main roads, and my properties are on back roads, but I still feel like I would much rather see the town exercise keeping them nice for just
Well,
public.
I've even went as far as contacting 2 companies that does the boring and then the foam where it raises sidewalks. There's a company out of Wisconsin that I was talking to. They use a mud product, almost like a cement type product. It's called a slurry. You drill a hole and then you force it in. So believe me, I put a lot of work into it, and you constantly find something that just puts a halt right on it. So
Right.
People plant trees within 10 feet of that new concrete. In 10 years, that's gonna be cracking.
I just think that in the future, it'd be nice if we were a little bit, maybe we could add those things, especially once we revisit and approve a higher price that we're gonna cover, we'd be a little bit more, do a little more advertisement for the community.
Definitely.
That's all I have though.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Chief,
I have nothing.
nothing? Did I miss anyone? All right, next meeting is August 14th, here in the council chambers at 6 p.m. And that will be our work session. And outside of that, is there anything additional that needs to come before council?
I was gonna bring up this. Over at the new village building, right, it's a one-way street. Is there a way that we can change that where it's not necessarily? So, I mean, I don't know that, the conversation I've had, I've heard people go the opposite way because, you know, they're going that way instead of turning right out of there. Or even possibly making it to where we come in and park if we could even go out that way. Because there's only an arrow, to come in.
Yeah.
And I think people do allow whatever they want.
That we go left out that one way.
That's interesting. Maybe, propose the question, Travis.
I'm guilty of that myself.
I personally would not do that. I do follow the road rules, but, I don't know about you guys. Sounds like we got some violations here, John.
I've seen cars when I've been at the building. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's one way you're going around. I see them at Parker's all the time.
Yes, I don't know for that one yet.
I don't know, but we'll propose the question to Travis. I have no idea. All right, anything additional? No? All right, if not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
so move.
Made by Councilmember Campbell. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?